But being around the people that surrounds me today, my family, some of the people I came up here with, it's a they're proud of me, and I'm sure my dad's proud of me. I'm sure my coach from high school, he's really proud of me. So it's a big deal for me. It's one of the most prestigious award you can get from an organization. I really think so.
Where were you when you found out? Just how did you find out?
Clark called and left a message. He said I should, give him a call back. I called him, and I was at the house. Was at the house? We were eating. A friend of mine from France. He's a music writer. He came up to help me learn how to write music, and I think that's when I found out. I called Clark back, and he told me it was a big deal.
Big part of your story, obviously, is escaping Liberia. When you're very, very young. As you kind of think back to even that moment and just what your life and how kind of this is like the crowning thing. How do you put that into perspective?
It's hard because I go from ducking bullets and running away from people shooting and killing civilians and hiding out and escaping that, going to the Ivory Coast, filing, dad coming down, filing for us to come to the U.S. Couldn't read and write, getting Teaneck High School, ninth grade. I'm not the smartest guy, but I have to do everything I have to get to Penn State. Joe's probably going through some of his worst time as a coach, and during that coming here, the organization changing, losing Lamar. Uh, if you hear those stories, you're not saying, "Man, Tom was going to be in the Hall of Fame," man, when it's all said and done. And so the way it's played out, it's more like some kind of movie. Somebody write the script, but it's my life and I'm living it, and I'm really grateful. I'm just really grateful to all the people that had um, to do with where I am today. And people like Mrs. Dunn in fifth grade. She kept me in her class just for reading. She wouldn't let me leave her class. She kept me all 4 years because I had to catch up. People like that just took liking to me, and I'm pretty sure they're proud when they're hearing it. Especially my coach from high school. I'm like his son. Before I made the decision to go to Penn State, I said, Coach, if I was your kid, where would you send your kid? And he said Penn State, and it all worked out.
Tom, you've been around the Chiefs organization for a while now, but you're also imparting wisdom upon some of the new guys on the team like George and Felix. Not only what is it like for you to just be around the Chiefs organization still and how much the organization means to you, but to help out the new guys on the team. What's that experience been like?
For me, it brings joy. It feels like I'm always part of the team. Um, Coaching is hard. I wouldn't wish it on people to go coach. It's hard. These guys are here early and they leave. So I want to give back somehow, and I live in the community. So working with George, working with Felix, I know where they are in their career. When I got here, it was hard on me to try to figure out how to play the position, not just from the left side, but from the right side, and all the different techniques they're asking us. And the coaches' jobs here are not to teach you technique. You should already know. And that's not the case with the guys coming into the league. They're not technically sound, especially for our defensive linemen. So working with those guys, it opens up their eye when you bring them in the room and there's a guy 160 pounds and they can't get out. A guy is mounted on top of him and he weighs that much and he can't get out. 280 can't get out. It brings a different mindset that, you can't overlook. You can't just feel like you're the best. You have to work at your craft and grow in it. And George did a tremendous job. I mean, he was very ambitious last year. He came and we worked. Felix is in there every morning now, and we're grappling, doing hand work, and they're beat. And then I always ask him, I said, which lineman in the National Football League is fighting at 6 a.m. every morning? So there's a beast that we're growing, that's growing in them, that they realize when they get on that field what it really means to play for this organization, because it's an opportunity.
But just bouncing off of, escaping Liberia and transitioning here in the U.S., just besides making it to, Penn State and Chiefs and Chiefs Hall of Fame, just making it to 40, just how proud of you just living.
That's a big one. Most of the people that I grew up with in Africa, most of them are not living. Say maybe the guys in Teaneck, they're living, but their lifestyle is not where it should be. So it's huge. I mean, coming from the war, going to Teaneck, it's a Jewish town, that helps. But again, it's to just go through it and all the obstacles that's in your way. That you could have made some bad decisions, and the entire time just to still be around, and doing it, it's tough. A good support system. My wife, holding me down since I left the game. That's huge. Most guys don't have direction. To have a family and life. You got to celebrate existence. For us to be here today, nobody could say, "Oh, I knew that." They would be lying. So it's good to at least celebrate existence. Just happy to be alive.
When Clark Hunt called you and did tell you the news, what was the first Chiefs memory you had? The first thing that came to your mind about just what you gave to the sport?
Well, the first thing I remember when Clark says that, I was his first draft pick. I was his dad's last draft pick. And throughout the entire time I was here, we changed coaches, GMs, and yet I was still favored by the same people who brought me in. And so, him saying that is it just brings the back that, you're kind of like in between one and the other, and you represent a bigger thing than yourself. So, and they think highly of you. So that hits home too. Like, that's how they feel about you. I don't think highly of myself because I don't want to think like that. But for others to consider me the way they do, it puts pressure on you to continue trying to be the best person you can be.
So, but your last season playing was Pat's rookie year, so you guys overlapped a little bit. Can you see then what was coming?
A little bit. I can't say I saw all of these championships, but I knew we had a great player that came in the building. I could tell you that. I mean, at times we wanted him to play, we wanted him to be on the field. But, yeah, I mean, shout out to Pat, and what he's done here in Kansas City. It's going to be a while. I mean, anybody to follow up, it's going to be a while. I mean, that's what he's doing is special.
Do you have any stories about stuff he did on the practice field that year?
There's one fond story. My stepson Ty, we're in a facility in camp, and I think I'm not practicing. I'm on PUP, and Pat came through, and he threw the ball with Ty for like 15 minutes.
This is up in St. Joe.
St. Joe's. And most guys would feel proud, like I got stuff to do. He just threw the ball with Ty for 15 minutes, and that said a lot.
You guys good? Thank you, Tamba.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, guys.